Welcome to this space. Good morning. Good morning if you're in this part of the hemisphere. Can you hear me well? Edith, maybe you can give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm getting a thumbs up from Laura. Great. So a very warm welcome to this presentation for this series of workshops that I'm going to be offering called Breathe the Goddess. And I am very excited to be able to share this work and also just to today unbox a little bit more what this is about, especially for those people who don't really know too much about this work. And we're going to have 1 hour together. So that gives us plenty of time for me to introduce myself to you, to talk a little bit more about the structure and about the philosophy behind this work. And also we're going to get to do something practical. And so before we actually get started, I know that some of you have your screen switched off, but I'd like to just acknowledge you and give you a smile and just welcome you into the space. And I encourage you to do the same, just to really recognize that you're not by yourself in this space, that we are together, and this is a space for us to share. So I'm just looking forward and just looking into your eyes and just welcoming you more fully right now. And I know some people are saying they can't switch on their camera. That's absolutely fine. Just so you know that you're very much welcome in this space. Good. So I hope you are in an area where you can actually just really use your body and drop into this space and be fully present. Because my idea is, before I begin to tell you a little bit more about the course and about myself, is that we actually just do a very short movement practice. So we can just drop into space, connect with our body, come a little bit out of the mind, and just be more receptive to what I'd like to share with you today. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 5-minute movement practice with music. During the first couple of minutes, we're going to stand up and we're going to give a good shake to the body. And this is enabling us just to release any tension that we might have, any nervousness, any expectation as well. And after that, the music is going to shift, and I'm going to invite you to just separate the legs slightly, come into a very stable stance, and just really connect a little bit more with your breath so that you can just initiate a very spontaneous movement from a much deeper awareness. And I'm seeing a message coming in that you're in a public place. That's fine. You can just really take this moment to connect with yourself, listen to the music, and just really be more present within this space as we get ready for this. So I'm going to encourage you to stand up, and I'm going to do this practice with you. Just make sure that you're in a space where you can shake your arms out and everything. You might like to take some nice deep breaths during this preparation, breathing in through your nose and breathing out through the mouth. And you can use your voice as well, and just do an ah, or whatever you need to do just to release any tension. So let's see how this goes. Just welcoming yourself into this space this morning. So as we begin, you can just take some nice ample breaths. And as the drums kick in, give yourself this opportunity to release. Releasing not only peripheral tension, but what you're holding on to inside. Using this moment for you. Coming more fully into the present, into your internal body space. shaking a little bit more. Feeling the heat, feeling the energy in your body. Maybe even starting to smile. And as you begin to feel the body, as you begin to connect with your energy, you can begin to slow it down. Gradually slowing down the movement. Gradually coming back to a simple stance. You might like to close your eyes if that feels good. And just watch the breath. Be aware of the sensations in your body. You might like to separate the feet a little bit more. Bend the knees, feel the connection with the earth. Keep the breath long and smooth. And as you breathe in, just feel how the body is expanding in all directions. And allow the arms to actually respond to that movement. Allow the body to actually breathe. So just allow the body movement to mirror the breath. Feeling into how you can expand beyond the skin as you breathe in. And how you can really come back to center as you breathe out. And from here, just see what wants to move. Maybe the hips want to oscillate. And you might even like to open the mouth and take a few breaths consciously through the mouth just to explore the inner space of your body. That vast field within you. And from here, if you are moving, you can just slowly begin to reduce the movements to a minimum expression, coming back into a posture where you can stay still for a couple of seconds. And just really embrace whatever is manifesting for you in this present moment. Taking a conscious breath through the nose. And from here, I'm going to invite you just to very slowly bring yourself back into the shared space, opening your eyes, maybe connecting with the light or something around you. And you might just be aware of a slight shift in the way that you are present here right now. And if you do feel like using the chat box and just letting me know how you feel, then that would be lovely. And meanwhile, I'm going to just tell you a little bit more about myself. So I know that many of you know me already. My name is Harmony Hannigan. I am a breathwork practitioner, also a trainer. But I'm also a yoga teacher. I have given teacher training programs for almost 20 years now, very much focused on energy alignment. I have come from a family which has really brought me up in the tradition of the ancient Indian philosophy. So it's something which I've grown with. And as a psychologist, I've always been interested in really this complete crossover, this point of connection between how we can use the body as a way, as a tool of connecting directly with the mind and actually really coming into a state of balance and essentially connecting with our deeper inner self and our inner truth. And I'm very excited about sharing this particular work with you because it's something that I have been sharing in Spanish for quite some time now, because I live in Spain and I've been working in Spain for many years. So this training with the 10 feminine archetypes from Tantra is a fascinating and very deep path, which is normally reserved for people who have a very specific interest in this field. However, as it's such a practical tool for getting to know different aspects of our psyche and actually using the symbolism, which is a route for our subconscious mind, which is very much accessible. We can understand things more through symbol, through signs, through colors. This is a way of really creating a deeper transformation at the level of our emotions, at the level of reassessing our beliefs and our thought processes. So it's really bringing this ancient, very traditional work into a more contemporary field, which I myself have found to be very, very beneficial. And I will talk a little bit more about that as well. And so what I would like to do in this session is tell you a little bit more about the goddesses and also give you an opportunity at the end to ask me any questions and invite you to join this journey with me, which starts on the 1st of March, which is very, very soon. So the 10 female archetypes range from different manifestations of the female figure. These goddesses range from different qualities that we can see, which some of them are quite dark. So there's blood, there's swords, there's cutting off heads. And to begin with, this actually might not necessarily seem so attractive. This is why it's necessary for us to actually look beyond the image and actually say, well, what is this actually symbolizing? And what is it showing me about myself? And this is when we begin to realize that it's actually a direct path to investigating our own shadows as well as our light and the way that we can transform one into the other. So when we're doing work with our shadows, quite often we can really have a heaviness around this work. We're identifying parts of ourselves which feel heavy or unpleasant, or we have chosen perhaps to sweep under the carpet and not see. But when we actually see that these figures are represented as the qualities of a goddess, we have the opportunity to say, oh, hang on a minute, this is actually something which is worthy of being honored. How can I embrace the rage, the anger, even the violence, and understand that this is energy, this is pure energy. And this is where we talk about the feminine as representing the energy, the raw energy that we can then work with, we can transform, and we can alchemize. As one of my teachers always says, and I quite often use this reference because it's been so helpful for me in my path, there's nothing wrong with anger, but it's how you use it. If you use it for destruction or for violence, evidently it's not a positive force. But if you harness that same energy and you use it to correct anything which is wrong and set yourself on the right path, this is an immense power that we can actually use. So in this way, we can see that the goddesses are showing us through their symbols different aspects of our psyche and inviting us to honor them and also to understand the path of transformation. So these archetypes vary from different qualities that we can see, and I'm going to name some of them just so you know the different modules, the different workshops, what kind of themes we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be moving from, for example, death and rebirth, the cyclical nature of life, through to assessing what is truth in a moment in time when really we're surrounded by so much untruth. It's connecting with what that truth really is on a deeper level. We're going to be looking at the creative force. We're going to be looking at the fire, the energy of the fire, and how this manifests in our psyche. We're going to be looking at radical transformation, how we can actually move away from our ego self and connect with the heart space. We're going to be looking at the void. What is beyond death? What is that nothingness space, which we actually get the opportunity to drop into and can be quite difficult to navigate when we're not prepared, even while we're living. We're going to look at this raw creative energy, which is quite often rebellious and not recognized by society. We're going to get to use our voice to actually articulate from a different space, from a powerful space. And we also get to understand what abundance is and that capacity to manifest, coming from a space of deeper gratitude and understanding of life. So it's a really huge range of different things we're going to be exploring with the different goddesses. And one thing I will say is the other day someone said to me, well, why don't you just name the workshops with these qualities? I'm sure you'll get a lot more people who maybe not so interested in the goddess work. And what I tried to explain to that person was that yes, you could just connect with that, but it's not so powerful. Because when I'm seeing these qualities within myself, I don't see myself as a goddess in general. So I'm working with things at a certain vibration. But in the moment that I begin to recognize that this is something which is beyond, it's on a universal level accessible to me, and it can be honored and seen as something on a much greater scale, it's also uplifting and empowering me to work with a greater intensity or depth for this transformative work. So this is why I'm really inviting people to try this out. And that's why there's different options. For people who already know a little bit about this work, obviously they're going to dive in head first and say, yeah, I want to know all of the goddesses. But maybe for those people a little bit more tentative, maybe they would like to just try one module and then see how the rest can just open up this huge, big range of different possibilities of exploring these aspects of the divine within our own psyche. And I'm going to take a pause there for a breath because this is big and there's so much that I'd like to share. And as I breathe, I'm also reminded to remind you that our tools during this course are principally the breath. We're going to be using breath work as a way of really connecting with the vital force, the prana, and which is the feminine energy in itself. And I will explain that further at some point. And also because it's a perfect way of combining this work. So in each workshop, what we get to do is learn a little bit about the goddess. We're not going to go in huge, big depth because that's for the training. I'm going to show you that this is the course notes for the training. So it's actually a huge amounts of material. So for this particular toe in the water, we're going to be looking at a few aspects of the goddess. We're going to be doing some self-transfiguration work, which means actually embodying her through movement and through some mudras or gestures. So for example, Kali, the first goddess, she's the initiator. Many of you probably know her. So one of the gestures might be for her is. So we're going to be using some of these gestures to embody her and using the breath. And once we've done that, we will bring this energy and the specific qualities that we want to transform through our self-inquiry into the breathwork session. So we're actually really focusing the breathwork in a very much more directed way. And there will be a space for integrating. And this is why it's so interesting that you really sign up for the whole thing, the whole 10 modules, because we get to create a stronger container where we can support each other more during this process and share what's coming up for us as well. And then between one session and another, because there's 3 weeks between one session and the other, you're encouraged to connect a little bit more with that energy, notice a little bit what's coming up for you in that specific filter, and really bring this alive through your self-inquiry, your own breath practices, and also your journaling. And so this is mainly the broad essence of what I would like to share with you today. But it's very easy for this to stay at the level of the mind. It's a lot of information. And I think what's interesting is that we actually share a practice together. So I'm going to guide a simple meditation, and this is also giving you the opportunity to see how I work. And one of the ways in which I work is I try not to plan too much. I actually don't like planning. So I haven't actually planned the meditation we're going to do right now. It's about us connecting in real time together, and from there connecting to source, and then allowing this channel being open to receive the information and the guide that wants to come through in this moment. And once we've shared this, I'm going to speak a little bit more about just the lineage, just so you know where I received this from, because that's a very frequent question. And then I'm going to open the floor for some questions before we come towards the end. So for this meditation practice, it would be very nice if you can find a comfortable position. It would be good for you to have your spine straight, if that's comfortable for you, because it's really very interesting to have our central column aligned with the earth and with the sky energies. If for any reason you need to be lying down, then you can also just open your arms a little bit, open your legs a little bit, so you can really come into this posture that we call Shavasana, which is the corpse pose, and just be really present for this practice. So I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds just to get comfortable for that. And if you feel ready, you can close your eyes gently. And as you have been listening with your ears and stimulating the mind, I'm just going to invite you to come back into the body space. So before we get started, I'd like you to just feel the points of contact between your body and the earth. So for you, that might be the soles of your feet if you're sitting on a chair. It might be your seat, feeling the weight from the hips dropping into the chair. And if the back is supported, feel that contact between the back and the wall or the back of the chair. And if you've chosen to lie down, just really feel the parts of the back of the body which are being supported by the earth. And as you can see, we're starting from connecting with the earth, which is also the mother. It is this Mother Earth that's giving us this reference point. And from here, you can just be aware of the natural spontaneous breath, just as it flows in and out of the body. And as you're focusing more on the inner space, just notice how that space expands and contracts as you breathe naturally. And as you become aware of all of the contours of your body, just notice if there's any holding or any tension. And use the breath to accompany you as you release this, so that each out breath can also be an opportunity to let go even more. Each in breath is allowing you to bring in this vital force, the prana Shakti, enlivening the body. And each out breath allowing you to just drop anything which stands in the way of being open and relaxed. Good. And as you connect more and more, I'd like you to really feel into the spaciousness inside. What do you really feel in the inside of the body? What can you see? And as we close the portals of the senses which allow us to communicate with the outside world, we can begin to recognize this vast inner landscape, this quality of spaciousness, perhaps of mystery, and without doubt, full of opportunity. And I'm going to invite you to begin to recognize that there is a central column which runs through the body. And this central column you can associate not specifically with the spine, just a general connection through the central column from the pelvic floor right up through to the top of the head. And I'd like you to just allow that to become visual for yourself. So you might see a tube, like the hollow branch of a bamboo. And I'd like you to allow the breath to occupy this inner space, so that somehow it almost feels like you're breathing through this channel. So you can begin by feeling, imagining, or directing the subtle breath upwards from the pelvic floor towards the top of the head. And as you breathe out, just moving this stream, this current of breath, vital energy down towards your root. So the breath is slow and steady, but at the same time natural. And once you get into this flow, once you begin to feel how this current is moving through you, I'm going to invite you to extend this in both directions. So at the end of the out breath, the energy is moving beyond the pelvic floor, connecting with the earth energies, with the telluric forces. And as you breathe in, this subtle stream of energy is going beyond the top of the head, up into the cosmic realm. You're beginning to connect beyond the physical body, although this is also your body, it's your subtle body. I'm just giving you the impression of being more expansive, where the ideas of the contours of the body can be dropped for a little bit. Going beyond on the out breath and beyond on the in breath. And once you've completed this breath, I'm going to invite you to reverse the direction. So as you breathe in, drawing the vital force inward from the space above the head, down in towards the pelvic floor, and beyond, rooting into the earth. And as you breathe out, the energy rising spontaneously like mist upwards, returning beyond the head. Let's just do that a few more times. Drawing the vital force in towards the root as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, allowing this to flow upwards and to reunite with the cosmic field. So you're not only aligning with these two opposite and complementary poles, but you're also inviting the vital force to operate through you. Take a couple more conscious breaths, deep and slow. And once you've completed this breath, you can just allow the attention to settle in any part of the body which feels like home for you right now. You might find that this is an area in the abdomen, in the chest, or it might be something more external like the touch between the hands and the thighs. Just allow yourself to settle into this more anchored place. And from there, just witness what's alive or present for you. You might feel perhaps some tingling on the surface of the skin. And there may be something which is undescribable or colorful, or it's just a simple radiance in the presence that you are embodying right now. Just allow yourself to sit and be present with that. You can continue to be noticing perhaps there's a greater amount of saliva in the mouth. It's just demonstrating how the parasympathetic nervous system is also coming into itself. And just embrace the whole body space, both inward and outward, honoring the body as a temple, where as we disconnect briefly from the outside, we can reconnect with the essence self, which resides within. And when you feel ready, I'm going to invite you to come back slowly. So you might like to initiate some movement in the body, maybe moving the feet or the hands. You might like to have a stretch, but just move with conscious awareness. And when you do decide to open your eyes again, just allow yourself to be more fully aware of what's shifted for you, taking a little bit of time just to register that. And as you come back into the shared space, you can, if you feel like it, just jot a message into the chat box just to say maybe how you feel. It's an invitation. You don't need to if you don't want to. Good. And as we come back into this space, yeah, I said I'd speak to you a little bit more about the lineage. What does that mean anyway? I think it's interesting to honor like where these tantric goddesses come from, and more than saying like the people or the string of teachers, I think it's interesting to know that these Mahavidyas, as they're called, are also quite often translated as the cosmic powers. What does that mean, the cosmic powers? It actually means that we're connecting with something which is a lot greater than ourselves. It's actually very much part of the science of Tantra. Tantra is so extent in its knowledge and its wisdom, it's actually connecting us to the stars, to the plants, to absolutely everything. So that there is certain, in a certain way, we can say that these Mahavidyas are also connecting with vibrations which are cosmic and interstellar in some way. And what does that mean? It means that we're connecting our internal space, our body space, with certain vibrations which exist out there in the universe. And what does that mean? It means that when we connect with something greater than ourselves, we have the greater opportunity to expand. And it's funny because when I was breathing last night, the message which came to me was that we like to follow something or someone that's bigger than us, that's more successful than us, that's better than us at doing something. And quite often we approach that from the feeling of not being enough or lacking some information. And this is actually a false belief, because the truth is that we are resonating with something greater because we are also great. We are immense. So when we bear this in mind, we can say that the cosmic powers, these archetypes, are allowing us to say, well, actually, I am that greatness. I am that cosmic vibration, whether it be of love, of self-esteem, of truth, of rebirth and reinvention. But as I can't see that, as I have this blind spot, connecting with the greater version of this is actually allowing me to remember that I am actually that which I seek to become. So it's allowing us to activate even more fully these dimensions within ourselves. My first initiation in the Mahavidyas was in 2006, and my path with them has been a lot through self-study and with a few initiations, but I didn't actually really begin to teach this fully until the pandemic struck, because I received clear information that this was the moment for this information to be shared, because what was happening was so massive, it could only be comprehended and understood, for me at least, through the wisdom of these archetypes. So when we get to look beyond what destruction is as understood by our small mind and actually see it on a cosmic level, we can actually come into a deeper understanding. And this reduces the element of suffering and allows us to be active in the process of being compassive and actually contributing positively to whatever situation which is arising. And from there, I created a quite a sophisticated 10-month program, which I feel is a little bit early to be offering right now in this particular field, because I'd like to do a toe in the water experience for you to get the flavor of these magnificent archetypes. And once you begin to reference them in your life and actually say, oh, this is this and this is that, then you might be able to actually really commit to a deeper journey further along the line. And I would like to really just honor also one of my teachers in India who's given me the thumbs up to be able to share this with you, just so that you know that the container goes beyond here, and that any doubts, any questions that come up, not only do you have my experience, but you also can be sure that I will ask any questions or I will receive any specific instructions that may help us as a collective to actually really deepen in a transformative process as we go through this pathway. I feel that I'm speaking so much, and I'm actually really curious about listening to you and hearing if you have any questions. And before I open the floor for any questions, I'm just having a little look. And Sophia, I'm so happy to see you here, has mentioned that practice that we did together produced a lot of sensation of vibration in her roots. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we have a few minutes, and before you ask any questions, I just want to remind you that I did put in a PDF some very specific answers to the general questions that people tend to ask. But if you have anything else that you'd like to ask, then please feel free to do so. So Sylvia, if you're available, maybe you can just put that first little message in the chat box so that people can be reminded to the link, direct link to the PDF in case they haven't read it already. So I'm just going to give a space, a couple of minutes in case you have any questions, any curiosities. It could be about the course, it could be about the goddesses.
Hi, I'm Estelle.
Hi there, Estelle.
Hi, I'd like to know if there will be replays.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you for that question. What I can say is I'm encouraging people who are in this time zone to really be present. I'm really reserving that possibility for people who are, for example, in the other side of the world and it's the middle of the night. Because the reason is when we do this work in real time, the energetic field is a lot stronger. Not only because we're co-creating that space together, but because I can channel the energy and the words that come through and the energy that comes through is going to really honor the people who are present in real time. So I feel that everyone is going to get a much deeper experience if they are fully present. So I would say to you, I would prefer you not to rely on that. I think it's important to show up and commit. And then obviously there's exceptions. You know, for example, if someone signs up for the 10 sessions, which is the best idea, and one, they're ill or it coincides with a wedding or something really important, of course we can look at exceptions, but I don't want to make that into a rule. Is that clear?
yes, absolutely. It's because I was looking at all the dates, and with one or two, I've already have something. I can't be
Okay.
there on June, and I don't remember the other one. So that's why I
Okay.
was asking for that.
Yeah, that's fine. If you commit to this journey and you sign up for the 10, and I know that you're committed and you have these exceptions, of course we can work around that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to having you on the journey, Estelle. Okay. I have another message coming through on the chat box. It says here, I think this is all really beautiful. This might be obvious, but as a yoga teacher, I feel this training will be really helpful for Dharma in yoga. Yes. So what I can say to you is in the full training, which is coming later on, there are specific yoga practices for each of the goddesses. So there are vinyasas for each one. In this particular training, I really want to open the field up for people who know nothing about yoga, and it's really not an obstacle. So in this practice, there may be terms or words that are familiar to you, and you might find in the movement that there are mudras that you recognize, or there's postures that you feel like adopting in the movement practices. We don't need to come from a yogic background at all. Evidently, people who have practiced yoga or they know about the yogic philosophy, they're going to be attracted more because there's going to be a few of the goddesses that you already know. Because I know Lakshmi, for example, we call her by another name, or Kali and Tara are more familiar. And that maybe kind of is creating that curiosity. What are those other goddesses? I haven't actually heard about them. For example, I don't know if anyone's heard about Chinnamasta or Bhuvaneshwari or Matangi or Bagalamukhi. These are other less known archetypes. So I think if you already know a little bit, it can maybe just expand on your knowledge. Okay. Sophia, it's so nice to see your face. Welcome. Thank you for switching on your camera. Okay. Okay. So as we have a little bit more time, if there's no more questions, I would like to just remind you that we have not only an early bird discount, which is until the 21st, but we also have an early bird gift if you sign up by the end of the day on Monday, which is a voucher for 100 euros, which means that you can use this to come to any of my retreats at our retreat center here in Spain. Or if physically it doesn't work out for you to come, you can also use that voucher for one-to-one sessions or for any other courses that I'm guiding. And if it's difficult for you to pay the full amount, you also have the option of paying in two parts. If you do finally decide that you'd like to just do a drop-in alternative, obviously the price is slightly higher. And this is because I really, really feel I can't encourage you more to actually sign up for all 10, because not only is it to know each one of the goddesses, but it's also to understand that there is actually a cycle. It is actually a full journey. So we start with Kali, which is overcoming our fear and facing our fear and maybe the deepest, darkest shadows. And that's like really kind of getting the foot in the door. And it's also about that death and rebirth process. And we go through a full cycle, which actually ends with quite the opposite energy, which is the fullness and abundance. And we can only fully really experience that when we've gone through the full cycle, which is why for me it would be an enormous shame for you not to attend all of those 10. So I'm going to just pop into the chat box. You've got it in the PDF as well. Just that pricing, so you've got it to hand. And also the payment links there. So I would really encourage you to sign up as soon as possible. And as we launched this presentation, kind of at the last minute, quite a few people have reached out to me and they said, oh, you know, I can't make the presentation today. So I've decided that we're going to do another presentation, which is going to be next Sunday. That's the 23rd. Obviously, I encourage you to sign up before to take advantage of the early bird. But just in case there's anyone else or you yourself would like to come back with more questions or just to experiment a different meditation, because it won't be the same meditation and movement practice, I encourage you to come back next Sunday. We're going to confirm the time for you. I think it's going to be at the same time because it works out well for quite a lot of people. And so don't hesitate in sharing the information and signing up as soon as possible. And if you have any questions, please know that I'm very approachable and you can send me an email or a WhatsApp and I will respond. And if you want to jump on and have a call together, then feel free to just request a little conversation and we can find a space this week to speak. Okay. Good. So I'm going to close this space. Thank you. We've managed to keep within the time frame, which is always a challenge. And so I'm going to just invite you to close your eyes one more time as we close this space together. And it has been short. And I hope that you've been able to really connect not only with my energy, but also to really deepen in your connection with your own innermost self. And just recognize the power, the beauty, the depth, and the potential of this work. And as you breathe into this inner space, I just really like you to call on your own wisdom. Call on that knowingness which has also brought you here today to this space. Just knowing that perhaps there is something which is calling to you. And most likely this is the call of the divine, which is manifested in these 10 forms. And in the same way as we have so many aspects of our own personality, you can recognize that this rainbow of colors, or this spectrum of energies symbolized by the goddesses, is actually flourishing and wanting to be seen and experienced on the inside. Maybe you get to have that intuition for a moment of how this container, how these practices can initiate you into understanding more about these cosmic forces, which may seem to be beyond, but they are actually already waiting for you within the body space, within the cells, within the life force, which in itself is the divine feminine, Mother's grace. So I'd like you to just visualize yourself sitting in a big circle with other beings and just feeling into a safe circle, which each person is fully present and open. And in the center of this circle, there is an immense fire burning. And the flames from this fire ascend towards the sun. And as we sit together in this space, the light and the warmth can be felt on the front of the body, igniting the heart, the passion, and the desire for transformation. And as you feel this, just allow a smile to emerge on your face. And it's this gesture of the smile which also ignites, which enlivens, which allows a space of gratitude for this circle that we have shared today. And when you feel ready, you can just allow that image to dissolve. And you can come back in your own way to this shared space. I'm going to join my hands together in front of the heart. If you feel called to, you can do the same. I'm just going to lean in and look and say thank you, beautiful ones, for being here today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Reach out if you want to. Sign up. I'm waiting for you with my heart open. And you're welcome to come back also for the next presentation next Sunday. Bye-bye for now.